Hi everyone, welcome back. Today let's do a Luxe chit chat. I have a little bit of time, but not enough time to put on a face. And I feel like today's topic needs a bit more of a serious look, something that's, more natural. Today's topic is about recession and our luxury shopping habits. I've been thinking about this a little bit, and I'm sure some of you have been as well. So I would love to hear your thoughts about your shopping habits and your lifestyle, especially in the recent weeks of the talk of recession and all of that. The whispers and talk about recession is nothing new. It's been looming for years and years and years now. People say that we are due for a recession, but it hasn't happened. Even in the pandemic, it hasn't really happened for most of the global economies. But with the recent bank failures, Credit Suisse and SVB Bank, obviously in America and the European countries, it's beginning to sound a little bit more real. With all the government's work of, tightening interest rates to kind of bring down inflation, it seems like their magic formula is not working anymore. People are starting to really pull back, and that's not good for the economy. I've been following the news here in Asia, especially Singapore, where the focus is on the bank failure for SVB Bank. And I guess the general sentiment is that it has minimal impact to us in Singapore, at least, or in Asia, because it's quite an isolated case. Then Credit Suisse happened, and there are some cases here in Asia as well, or at least in Singapore. Of course, the wealthy, because you're talking about wealth management. Now, even though the general sentiment is that it's not going to impact us very much, the word's minimal impact to us in Asia, however, we are not immune to a global recession. I'm sure many of us remember the Great Recession. It actually started in the United States, and then it rapidly came to Asia. So that was in 2000 and the early 2010, so 2008, 2009. I remember 2000 very clearly because I just finished studying high school, and I was just about to embark on my education overseas. So it's quite common for us in Malaysia to study abroad and instead of local university. And I remembered that I could not study overseas anymore because it was so expensive. Because of that recession, or just the exchange rate went bonkers for us. 1 ringgit to the UK dollar, it just dissipated. It went from, I think, £1, $4, 4 ringgit. It just doubled up. It became 8 ringgit to a pound. My parents could no longer afford that, and I think my dad, if I'm not mistaken, I think around that time, my dad also lost his job. He was retrenched. Thank God he got a job later on, except that, it's quite traumatic. At that time, you're trying to school, and parents couldn't send me overseas and all that. So I remember 2000 quite clearly. And then when 2008, 2009, I was working, and though I didn't really see much of the recession, but I could see it happening in my family because my dad, he works in the construction industry, and when there's a recession or there's something bad in the economy, construction is usually the first to go. Everything stops, projects are not going, there's no funding, there's all of that stops, road building, things started to slow down. And even though my dad was not retrenched in that time, it was tough. Everything was expensive again, people were really tight with their money. So I remember this, and it sounds like it's happening again. Oh my gosh. Anyway, today is not an economy lesson whatsoever, but I wanted to put some context to this discussion because today we are just coming out from a pandemic, and I'm more curious about your lifestyle decisions right now. During the pandemic, everybody just locked down. You couldn't buy anything, you didn't buy any shopping. Having said that, on this YouTube channel, we were still buying a lot of luxury. That's the strangest thing about recessions, or at least in the pandemic. People buy luxury, they collect, all the money comes out, they collect all these rich things. Or at least they spend to fulfill a sad gap in their lives. Coming out from a pandemic, we are spending, we are enjoying lives again, we're all going out. I'm buying my stuff. But now you have this recession that's coming out more and more rapidly. At least I hear it more and more often In the past few months, maybe 6 months to a year, you usually just hear about pandemics, but now you're actually hearing about bank failures. Interest rates are not, or tightening of interest rates are not really doing its job. It's not pulling down the economy. And there will come a tipping point where people say, oh my gosh, everything's just too expensive. I don't want to spend anymore. And you know, the funny thing about that is that when we stop spending, that's when the recession happens. They are two peas in a pod. It's like we have to spend to keep the economy going, but when it just gets crazy, which is what's happening right now, things are just crazy priced. I'm sure all of you are experiencing it. I feel like I'm spending so much more when I go out. There will come a point I'll say, you know what, I'm not going to go out for that one time. I'm not going to drink this, I'm not going to eat that. And if everybody does that, businesses are going to get it. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy that because of all of that, recession is going to happen. Which is why the government is continuing to pump and print money to make us spend and spend and spend. But again, there's going to be a tipping point where I pray it won't happen, but it just feels more and more real now. Personally, I am so happy to be out of the pandemic, or at least feel like we're recovering very well from the pandemic here in Singapore, as also in Malaysia. I love going to Orchard or going out because I just see so many people. I see people shopping, people eating, people, partying. Even I went for a couple of parties, and it just feels like the pandemic never happened. But the one thing that I realized about restarting this normal lifestyle is that I'm spending so much more. My dollar is being stretched, and instead of spending, say, $200 a night, a great night out, drinking and everything, I'm spending like $500. I just feel like, whoa, where did that happen? It's just so much more that I wanna pull back. Of course, what I'm doing is more of the, fun things, the unnecessary things. But then there are businesses that would be impacted if I don't. So, I'm not saying that I'm helping the businesses out, but can you imagine if everyone is feeling that way? Whether it's the ones that are really living day by day and they pull back on buying the extra loaf of bread because it's just, instead of $2 now, it's $5 now. Or like me, I'm just saying, you know what, I'm not just gonna go out tonight, I'm gonna eat in the whole week, and that's for me, but that means that's less one customer for all these restaurants that I used to go to. Even though I read and watch the local news about whatever's happening in the European countries or the United States, even though it says that it's minimal impact, and I also see how most people, at least in the places that I go, are just, pumping up the economy because you're shopping, you're eating, you're actually helping out the businesses. Even though I see all of this, I feel that it's a post-pandemic surge. It's just being let out of a cage and you're just having fun. But there will come a point where it will taper down. Once you've got your traveling out, you've got your shopping out, you've got your meeting your friends out, it will taper down, and then you'll take a step back. Most of us will take a step back and kind of review the situation and say, okay, maybe I went out too much, I partied too much, I shopped too much, I don't want to go travel too much. And that's when we pull back, it's going to change again. Whether a recession will happen, I don't want to know and I don't want to predict. But I kind of have like a gut feel that maybe it's time for us to really take a step back and review our stockpile and kind of just, have something really solid to fall back on. I think the recession, like I said earlier, is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we shouldn't stop doing what we do and just freak out and do like what happened to the bank, right? Freak out, take all your money and obviously that's gonna cause a crash. But it's sort of reviewing what's right and what's safe and what we should do to keep on going with our lives. So, this being a luxury channel, what does it mean for me, right? I'm still shopping, I'm still buying. I've got a couple of unboxings. But, at the back of my head, I am kind of really slowing down. I did talk about it a little bit about, chilling out with Hermes, not buying so much. And I feel like I am doing it a bit. I just don't have that urge to buy Hermes as much because it's just so expensive, and I feel like, I would still want to buy my luxury things. I still want to enjoy it. I don't mind getting an LV thing right now, but I just don't feel as willing to put so much money in because of all these different aspects. One being so expensive, so difficult, but another aspect is this slight concern that I have, and is it wise to be spending so much there so quickly where I still want to enjoy my luxury things, but maybe I should do it in smaller bites right now. So anyway, that's my little Luxe chit chat for the day. You know, even as I talk about this, I do have some luxury videos to do, but I wanted to put this point of view out there because it's not that I'm oblivious to what's happening in the economy. You know, it's something that we should all be aware of. It's just that what kind of steps do we take, right, to safeguard our, safeguard whatever we have today. So anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts about your luxury lifestyle right now, or at least your lifestyle. Can be your luxury lifestyle, can be your lifestyle in general. When you hear these whispers about recession and the whispers of things that may not be so good, right? So what are some of the safeguards that you're doing? I would love to hear your thoughts, so please comment down below. Otherwise, if you enjoyed today's video, do give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell as well for more videos to come. I promise the next video will not be so gloom and doom. It'll be a fun one because I need to do like a Hermes collection. So I do hope you will join me in the next video. Otherwise, everyone, please take care, stay safe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!